Welcome to Skirmish Line. In Skirmish Line, you die. Why not face the inevitability of death head-on, and sign up to be in the US Army, and fly or float all the way over to a remote Japanese island full of nice little suicide bombers, trucks with explosives strapped to them, veteran Japanese soldiers, tanks loaded with flamethrowers, and even better, your fellow trained US soldiers apparently forgot to check out the shooting range, so they can't hit the broadside of a fucking palm tree. Basically, you're outnumbered, you have limited supplies, and there's literally no way to win. Though you do have some nifty little things that keep you alive for as long as possible. Some nice planes that will perform strafing runs and bombing runs on unsuspecting Japs, tanks, machine guns, and even a very large man that you can call on to kick some ass. Skirmish Line is a mixture of a tower defense and an RTS set in the Pacific Campaign in World War II. Tower defense and RTS as in, you're given a specific spot to defend, but you can also command your troops, and if you have an officer on field, you can even direct their fire. So basically in Skirmish Line, there are 3 modes. The first 2 are endless defense missions that last as long as you're able to make them with the shittiest soldiers on the Solomon Islands. The last is a campaign mode that hasn't been finished completely yet. Oh, did I mention this game is in early access? Well, nonetheless, the 2 endless defense modes, which are the most fun in my opinion, and have new things added to them all the time. I'll go into Defense in Depth first. In Defense in Depth, you're given 3 positions to defend. Once one position has inevitably been taken by those damn Japs, you'll fall back to the next position, where you're given a little bit of time to place some sandbags, prepare some defenses, and, call in some tanks, maybe call in a couple radio signal. This is your greatest enemy, the knee mortar. The Japanese knee mortar has the ability to easily take down your team if you aren't paying attention. They'll repeatedly shoot mortars at your squad while they are behind cover and easily take them down. These units should be top priority if you see one walking across the screen. Skirmish Line is brutal and unforgiving, and holy shit, is that a fucking tank with 3 flamethrowers strapped to it? In Defense in Depth, there's a little mechanic that got added just recently called Defense Preparation, where you can send a soldier to the next position while your soldiers are still out defending the main position, and while you're defending the current position, that soldier will construct defenses for you when you inevitably have to fall back to the next position. If you send 2 soldiers, they'll construct more at a faster rate, same if you send 3 or 4 and so on. So when you send your soldiers back, no matter the randomized terrain generated by the game, you'll have some sandbags, trenches, and camouflage nets to keep your soldiers safe and sound. For now. To give you a better chance of surviving longer, you can spend command points on support strikes. If there's just way too many enemies for your soldiers to handle on their own, then you can call in the Air Force or Navy to help out. The 2 most useful being the Strafing Run and Bombing Run, in which, let's say there's a couple enemies in one area that you can't take care of. You call in a Strafing Run to rain lead on them from the sky. Let's say there's a tank heading towards you, but you don't have an anti-tank soldier, nor the points to get one. Well then call in the Bombing Run, in which a plane will come in and drop a bomb on the tank, usually to even more efficiency than an anti-tank soldier. Other support strikes include B-25J support, in which a bomber will fly over to rain hot lead and a couple of bombs on a large area, which can be really useful if you have a large concentration of enemies in a large area. The bomber support will be a lot more efficient than a strafing run at covering a larger area quickly. There's also an artillery barrage, mortar barrage, and naval bombardment, in which a mortar barrage will rain bombs on enemies, artillery barrage will rain larger bombs on enemies, and you guessed it, naval bombardment will rain even larger bombs on enemies. Next up is sector defense. I don't have much experience with sector defense, but I can give some details. Sector defense gives you 1 position to defend, and you can get the advantage on the Japs by sending your soldiers up to the next position, granting you some extra command points and a little bit of time to set up defenses and relax where they send more shit to overrun you. Even if you advance, no matter how much you advance, once the Japs breach your first position, you lost the game. Now lastly, the campaign mode. The campaign mode is a mode in which you can actually win. You're given points to set up a squad that will have to complete missions. Once you complete a mission, you're granted more points to upgrade your squad by giving them better weaponry, better training, grenades, satchels, etc. And you're also given a separate set of points to buy things like support strikes and fortifications that allow you to build sandbags, trenches, camouflage nets, and wooden walls that will protect your squad from oncoming enemy fire. These missions include challenges like defending an area for a few waves or advancing 3 Japanese positions in which you become the attacker, and the Japanese have to defend their positions, usually not to great effect since they don't have the greatest officer ever commanding their fire. I haven't played a huge amount of time in campaign mode, but it's fairly neat, especially with the ability to upgrade your troops' accuracy and such. Campaign mode is still under heavy development, but where it stands, it's still fun, so the best mode for me is defense in depth. I would say the mode that needs the most upgrades is sector defense. There honestly isn't nearly as much fun to be had in sector defense as there is in defense in depth, and the campaign mode. I picked up this game for $10 on Steam, and even if the price is a little bit high, I would still definitely recommend Skirmish on any day of the week, especially for anyone who enjoyed the classic Mud and Blood Flash games. The game is heavily inspired by them and even shares a Discord server with the creators of Mud and Blood. It's been my favorite little time waster for weeks, especially in school. Don't tell the teacher. The final thing I'd like to mention is, the game has some very good voice acting. The voice acting had me really confused when I first picked up the game. It has some of the best voice acting I've heard in such a small game. So good that at first I thought the developers had taken audio from a movie or something, but it's all original. I'm going to compare it to another small indie game I picked up a week or two ago, Easy Red. The game's voice acting is pretty rough.
Stay with me! We'll get through this! We gotta take that beach!
It's a concentrated push, just like I make on the toilet! Hostiles at our 12 o'clock!
Keep firing! Keep them pinned down!